We can change the world one heart at a time. We can change the world one heart at a time. I see you, I know you, you're a part of me. We can change the world one heart at a time. We can change the world one heart at a time. I see you, I know you, you're a part of me. We can change the world, we can change the world one heart at a time, one heart at a time. We can change the world, we can change the world one heart at a time, one heart at a time. I see you, I see you, I know you, I know you, you're a part of me. And my heart is open to love. My heart is ready to love you. You can change the world, you can change the one heart at a time, one heart. You can change the world, you can change the one heart at a time, one heart. I see you, I see you, I know you, I know you, you're a part of me. I can change the world, I can change the one heart at a time, one heart. I can change the world, I can change the one heart at a time, one heart. I see you, I see you, I know you, I know you, you're a part of me. My heart is open to love. My heart heart at a time. We can change the world. One heart at a time. We can change the world. One heart at a time. We can change. We can change. One heart. One heart. One heart. One heart. One heart at a time. One heart. We can change. One heart. One heart. One heart at a time. One heart at a time. We can change. One heart. One heart. One heart at a
Good morning. Hello, everyone.
Morning, Sister Usha.
Morning,
Good
Sister Belinda,
morning.
Sister
Good
Fatima.
morning.
I think everyone is having a holiday today.
It is a holiday.
Yes. I think when it comes to holidays, people forget the morning program, hey? We need to do something about this. So today we have a wonderful opportunity to talk about
Good
our
morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Okay, so we all in, warm and cozy. So today is in our steps to our 21 steps. We have just come to the end of the 8th power. And then we've got a few more things to help us culminate our 21 steps. But this is an important element to understand that as we go inward, what is that powers that we develop? And today it's the power to cooperate. It's very much connected to being a team, working in a synchronized way. And maybe just to start off, they use a beautiful image of your hand, where the 5 fingers are all different, but they all work in such a way that they support each other so that the hand can actually do whatever task. It can take on a very delicate task, or it can actually do something quite strenuous, all in a way, the way the hand is then able to interplay with the fingers, or how the fingers interplay with each other to give the hand that powerful effect. So, Sister Belinda, I see we're waiting for Sister Fatima to arrive on the screen.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. A lovely image you just created there, Sister Usha. All the hands together can do amazing, all the fingers together can do amazing things, but very limited if there's only one finger that's working. And, I like to see this. We always talk about the power to cooperate at the end of the 8 powers, because it's like when we get these powers right in our lives, this beautiful thing happens, that we shift away from a competitive mind to a cooperative mind. And just think about our world. Everyone's competing for a little slice of the pie. And very often behind that is a selfishness which comes from insecurity. Very difficult to think of others when you yourself are insecure. So when we come to this power, it really comes from that deep understanding and our own security that together we are more powerful when there's unity and cooperation between us. But we can't do that until we ourselves are whole and healed. And then it's natural, absolutely natural, to cooperate not only with our hands, even though that's good, but we can cooperate with our feelings as well. I think we've all experienced at some time in our life where even without words, we felt the absolute support and encouragement of someone else, and how much that meant to us. So cooperation can be a very, very subtle thing. You just feel that someone is really having the best thoughts and intentions for your success. Thank you.
I was thinking about cooperation, and when I was watching the screen this morning just before we started, the picture of the kids holding hands brought a story that I heard when I was young. Someone had come from outside Africa and to visit South Africa. And he was very interested to understand the culture of Ubuntu. In the process where he was, he decided to start playing games with the young children of that area. And he started a competition, a racing competition. And there were prizes, sweets, chips, all these things that kids love. And so in this village, he told the kids, explained to the kids that if you run and number one will grab that prize and number two will grab that prize, and so on and so on and so on. So the kids, instead of competing, they all held hands and they ran the race together, making it possible for each and every one of them to collect a prize. And that, that's what that story, the picture this morning when the music was playing brought to my mind this story where nobody wanted to compete, but they all cooperated and decided that we're all going to win. And then I was listening to the lyrics of the song, I See You. We all know that in isiZulu, when we greet, we say, Sawubona. I know you. We belong together. That was the feeling that came to me this morning when I was just listening to the song and the picture and everything. But when we come to the power of cooperation, I think everything in the world works around cooperation. Everything, starting from our bodies, the weather, nature, everything has to cooperate so that there will be order. But again, going back to the picture of the children, in isiXhosa, what they were doing by holding hands is called ukubambana. So they were holding each other up. If you tried to break that chain, you wouldn't be able to break that chain because each one is holding the other one's hand. Sister Usha's example of 5 fingers. If one finger is missing, the hand doesn't operate properly. But then going back to the power of cooperation, to be able to cooperate successfully, there is a bouquet of powers that has to come together. And when I'm talking about this bouquet of powers, I am talking about tolerance, for instance. There has to be tolerance. There has to be accommodation. We have to be able to accommodate one another. We have to be flexible. We have to have respect for one another, but also respect for the task that brought us together. And we have to appreciate ourselves coming together to do the task, but also appreciate the opportunity that the universe has given us to do that task. And so I was looking at these 5 powers as the bouquet that you need to say we have been able to accommodate we have been able to cooperate successfully.
Sister Fatima, I just wanted to pick up something when you were sharing all those lovely thoughts from the different languages and the meaning of holding people up and cooperating. You know, the very approach we took is we said the ancient Raja Yoga. And, you know, if we went back in tradition from the beginning of time, we'll see that the beginning always actually held this principle that we are because we all respect each other. And there's this whole idea of living in extended families, you know, caring for each other. I was just thinking that, you know, when you live in one home, you pay one rent, one light, one water, you put the stove on once, you cook for 50 people or 20 people. These days, I can see why we have power shortages and everything. Everyone is cooking in their little pots. They're living in their little compartments. Each one has to have a separate whatever. So we have actually multiplied everything in such a way that we've created an unnecessary expansion of things. So actually, in one way, the world is using globalization to say, let's produce things in multiple ways, and then we'll reduce unit cost. But even when they do that, who pockets the change? Who pockets the profit? Just because they manufacture it in a global way, they're not selling it cheaper to the public. So it's such an interesting thing, because you brought up this idea of not being selfish, you know. It's about really, and I think Sister Belinda also highlighted that idea. So I was thinking that, you know, just like how we're going back to eating organic food and natural food, in a way, in our lifestyles, we have to go back into working with community and working together, and actually remove this consciousness of being a silo, that, you know, I can make my own decisions and I can carry on. And if I carry on, you know, I don't really have to worry about everybody. For some reason, I'm feeling that this is really a key thing in the breakup of our community. And when we live in a community, I think, Sister Belinda, you highlighted that we need to have self-respect. To live with others, you need to have value for yourself. But people are creating their own value by saying, I can do my own thing and I can live independently. So they've actually lost the meaning of what respect is and what value for the self is. Because people can't get along, it's easy to just divide and be separate and make your own little kingdoms. And that's actually what we got at the moment, these small little kingdoms. But no emperor.
Actually,
Sister
also,
Usha.
sorry.
Oh, go ahead, Sister Belinda.
Thanks, Sister Fatima. It's just reminding me of, you know, this mindset of scarcity. And it is one of the things that really makes people very self-centered. And as you mentioned, Sister Usha, that we now live in silos because that's what we feel we can manage, and we just have to take care of our little world, control our little world. But it really is a scarcity mentality, isn't it? And, you know, the power of cooperation really means that we're able to step into the mindset of abundance. And, you know, and I don't mean that just thinking, oh, you know, I have to feel abundant when, you know, my life is really challenging, but that kind of deep trust, because there is that law in the universe that is there to support. And, you know, to really have that trust that, as we had spoken about in previous sessions, that when I align myself with the spiritual laws, then the nature of the universe is that it will support. And if I live by that principle of abundance, then the heart is open. And Sister Fatima, you put it so beautifully this morning, you know, that that story that the children crossed the line together. And it really is a story of humanity. None of us can be a winner at the expense of someone losing. And that is really behind this power of cooperation.
I was going to say that we mustn't think that cooperation has completely become extinct. It's still alive in communities, especially the community that I live in. You know, when someone dies here, nobody sends a notice in the newspaper. It's word of mouth. You know, somebody tells the neighbor tells another neighbor. And one of the things that happens here is that immediately you'll find that the people in this community will go to the place where someone has left the body and they will offer their services. The mothers will come and just to find out who is cooking, for instance. And then they will offer themselves to come and cook because they have to give the family an opportunity to be able to mourn. Those ladies who offer their services don't ask for money. They just come and they have a meeting and they decide that, okay, on Friday we'll come and peel the vegetables. And then on Saturday, when everybody, you know, is busy with the funeral and everything else, we stay behind, we will cook. And then according to tradition, there will be other people at the gate with bowls of water so that when they come back from the graveyard, they can wash their hands. All of those things in this community are just done, you know, out of love, or should I say tradition. But it's one of those things where if someone dies, you never feel alone because you know that people will come. People will come to say we've heard. People will come to put their hands on your heart. So in a sense, I feel that we should increase this way of living again and make it alive and make it visible and bring back what I would call Ubuntu again in that sense.
I think in our chat, somebody is just saying that, yes, you know, how can we move away from this compartmental life and change it? And I think, you know, one of the things we know that we can be the change. And, you know, in the song also, it says, change one heart at a time. And I think we need to understand that we can't, nothing happens, because you also use this word, it's everything word of mouth. And I noticed the work of Brahma Kumaris is not happening because we got it out there in social media and we've got it everywhere. It's each one tell one, and that's actually how we are getting the message across, because it's also this kind of change means you need trust. So when somebody who's doing it tells you about it, you feel, hey, I can also do it. And so I feel that it's a very important thing about each one of us, the way we live our lives. We must never think that our life is not actually on showcase. Each one of us is on show. There are people watching, whether it's as a parent, your child that just is born from the age 1 to 7, they're just looking at you all the time, and everything of their world becomes what they see you do. And so constantly people are taking from what we're doing and learning from what we're doing. So what we can do is firstly make the changes inside of ourselves and then reach out to one at a time. And so I think one heart at a time is actually a way that we can shift this paradigm of scarcity, of self-control, looking after oneself, and actually start opening up and becoming community again.
Yeah, and I was also thinking that, we have to realize that when we cooperate, it doesn't diminish me. In fact, exactly the opposite. It actually expands me. But, sometimes people can't open and be generous-hearted and give their cooperation because they themselves are feeling empty. And so, Sister Usha, what you were saying, that first we have to fill ourselves. First we have to come to that place where we are full and whole. And that's our spiritual journey. And then the power of cooperation is not something that we sit down and we think about. Like Sister Fatima said, it's a knee-jerk response to a need in the community. Those mothers that come forward, it's in their DNA. That's what they do in those circumstances. And so can it be in my DNA? How can I open my heart and really feel how much I have to contribute?
Actually, Belinda Ben, I'm just thinking something, it's in everyone's DNA, but maybe what has happened is that maybe there was some pain, somebody bridged that trust, somebody broke the trust, sorry, somebody created some kind of loss, and so we closed our hearts. And I think what is required for us is to go inside and say that this is very appealing to me, but why can't I do it? And to find that's the healing way it needs to be done. And so definitely it's in all of us, in our DNA, to be giving. When we know we can give, it's incredible how we would even sacrifice sleep and whatever, because we actually understand the beauty. It also makes us feel good. So I would say yes, it's what is required is a healing element in our lives.
Sister Beatrice made a nice comment. She said during the deep lockdown last year, in extreme scarcity, it was the poor who helped each other through. Mm-hmm. Lovely. So often it is the case, isn't it, that those who physically have the least still have that big heart. Yeah. So is it Sister Fatima's turn to guide our meditation?
Yes, it is, Ben.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. So let's just sit back and relax and think about how we can bring back this culture of cooperation, not only into our lives, but into the lives of every other soul in the universe. I am because we are. And therefore, since we are, I am, no man is an island. I will always need help. I will always need sustenance from those around me. They too will always need help, and they will always need sustenance too. And so let me not forget who I am. Let me not forget that I am a soul, a child of God, the Supreme Father, the Supreme Soul, and that every other human being that walks on this earth is also an embodied soul. We have been on journeys, different journeys, all of us. We have been hurt. Our trust has been broken. But most of all, let us learn the art of tolerance. Let us learn to understand what is it that makes others to act in the ways they do, sometimes against us, sometimes against themselves. But let us not forget one thing. We are all one. We may be coming from diverse places, but diversity becomes the spice of who we are, not something that divides us. Variety is very good, but when it separates us, it is not good. So let us not put importance on our differences. Let us put importance on our similarities. We have the same color blood that runs through our veins. Our tears are the same color. We cry because we all experience sorrow at some time in our lives. And these are the things to remember. Umuntu, ngumuntu, ngabantu. I am because you are. And therefore, since you are, I am. You are important as much as I am important to you. Let us remember also that the universe operates on the power of cooperation. If one thing, just one thing, does not cooperate, the system does not work. Let us be flexible when it comes to our relationships with one another. Let us have big hearts and be able to accommodate each other so that when someone goes wrong, we don't blame. We learn to try and understand what happened, and we try and bring that soul back into the circle. Let us not forget that love plays a big role in this power to cooperate. Cooperation is what we need because cooperation unites us. And so, as we live this space to go and enjoy our public holiday today. Let us take this one thought with us. I am because you are, and therefore, since you are, I am. Om Shanti.
Thank you. And so today's power, cooperation, to the extent that I am beyond the need to prove myself to be worthy or valued, I can grow my own capacity to listen and adjust to others. I have the humility to accommodate the ideas of others and work as a team. I experience myself as a catalyst, as a co-creator of harmony, to unify, to sustain and support. So please feel free to unmute and bring your voice into the room, and have a beautiful day, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Sister Usha, for the beautiful session. And